Welcome to the video, guys. A couple weeks ago, I made a super spur-of-the-moment purchase, and I ended up picking up this 1999 Ford F-150. Before we get into the nitty-gritty details of the truck, I wanted to tell a little bit of a story about the day when I did actually buy the truck. So everything went smooth buying the truck. Everything was awesome. The dude went with me to the DOL directly afterwards, got everything transferred over, got my plates and everything. And after we got all that figured out, I took the truck over to Gabe's house, wanted everyone to see the truck and whatever. And on my way home, I decided to go to the gas station because the car only had something like an eighth of a tank. It was like almost on empty. But anyways, I pull up to the pump and I look in my rearview mirror and I just see a cop pulling up right behind me. And then it clicked. Oh, my plates are sitting right here in the seat next to me. Like, I just totally forgot to put them on when I was over at Gabe's house. So I hop out of the truck and the cop's like, "Hey, so I see you don't got any plates on your truck." And this is where I made a very grave mistake. I just don't deal with cops often, so I don't really think about how I act around police, I guess. But when he said, "Hey, I noticed you don't have any plates on your truck," I immediately turned around and just leaped into the truck, grabbed my plates, came out, and just handed him the plates. And I can only imagine what that cop might have been thinking in that situation, because I gave him my plates, he called it in, and he was like, "Oh, okay, like, you're fine then, like, you're all good to go." And he's like, "The reason that I was stopping you specifically was because we just had a gold F-150 get stolen from the Home Depot down the street." So like I said, I can only imagine what this cop was thinking when I just immediately turned around and jumped in my truck, because to him, he was probably thinking I was the dude that stole the truck. And seeing someone who you think just stole a truck jump back into a truck, I don't know. He could have thought I was doing any number of things, and overall, it could have ended way worse than it actually did. Thankfully, the cop was super calm, super nice dude, and he just let me go on my way with no extra problems. But anyways, with that story out of the way, let's actually talk about this truck a little bit. So like I said, this is a 1999 Ford F-150. It has the Triton V8. So it's the 5.4 liter V8, which I believe is the biggest engine that came in this F-150 line from this generation. It's an automatic. I don't know if these things came in manuals. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but I just honestly don't know a lot about trucks, so I'm not going to know a lot of the ins and outs of things. Like I said, this was a super spur-of-the-moment purchase. I was not expecting to have a truck this soon. I ended up being able to get the truck for $2,200 because there were some issues with the car. Nothing super major, but enough to bring the price down considerably. One of those issues being the brake pedal liked to get stuck to the floor, which made test driving this thing absolutely terrible. And then secondly, there is a pretty sizable leak on the exhaust manifold on the passenger side. It sounds kind of like a tank, so here, I'll start her up real quick. So like, it's bad, but it's not like obnoxiously bad, I haven't had the chance to get up under there and look at the exhaust to see exactly where it's leaking from, but I'm hoping it's not going to be anything too super major. If anything, I should be able to just like weld up a hole, or hopefully it's just like a gasket missing, and that should fix that problem. But going back to the brake pedal that would get stuck to the floor. As you can see, this brake pedal itself, like, this is super rusty. When I got the truck, it was actually way worse than this. But yeah, like I said, when I would press it, like, it would just get stuck. Now it doesn't do that because I was able to actually fix it really easily. From what I was reading online, a lot of people say that when the brake pedal gets stuck to the floor and the brakes are still working, that just means that the brake booster has like a blown diaphragm on the inside, something like that. So when I went to go look at the car, one of the first things I looked at was the brake booster. And taking a look at the brake booster, it's pretty obvious that that thing is relatively new. So I was already able to cross that off the list. Another common thing that people were saying on the forums that would cause the brake pedal to get stuck to the floor is literally just like the pivots on the brake pedal itself. And sure enough, I was able to just get up in here and WD-40 like all the pivots up there, and sure enough, like, it returned normal function back to the brake. It still like catches a little bit up top, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was when I initially got it. Now there are some more little minute issues with the truck that we can get into right now. The driver's side seat doesn't go forward at all. Like, it'll go up and down and like everything except for forward and backwards. And unfortunately, this seat is set up like almost as far back as it can go, it feels like. So when I'm in here, I'm like straight arming, and I have to like, I don't have to tippy toe the pedals, but it's definitely not like a comfortable seating position. Like, I feel like a toddler sitting in this truck. Granted, the truck's just really big anyway, so I'd look like a toddler regardless. But I'm in here like essentially like straight arming the steering wheel, just trying to freaking drive this thing. I took a look under the seat and everything's looking pretty rusty, so I might just have to like unmount the seat and then manually put the seat forward, which honestly isn't a huge issue. Some other little minor things. The key does work. Last time I tried to use this thing, this wasn't working. Oh. Yeah, it kind of hits and misses. One thing that I have noticed though, the driver's side door doesn't like to lock electronically. Let's see. Yeah, so it doesn't even move. So the lock on the driver's side doesn't work. There's like some minor like paint chipping on the dash, but overall it's not too bad. Like the entire interior in general is pretty immaculate. I don't know how well the lighting is doing. Oh, there we go. But yeah, this interior is really nice. Another small thing that's gonna have to get taken care of, these tires are from like 2013 and they're getting kind of low on tread. I mean, they're still drivable, but I don't want to be towing stuff on tires from 2013. That just sounds like a recipe for a blowout, and that's not something I really want to deal with. So those are gonna have to get replaced at one point. So as it stands right now, the list of things that need to get taken care of: the exhaust leak on the exhaust manifold, fixing my seating position, maybe taking care of the electronic lock on the driver's side. That's not really a huge issue, and then getting tires for this thing. And other than that, this truck, it's like super solid. So on that note, let's get into some of the pros of this car, some of the things that I've noticed that really made this deal a whole lot sweeter. Pop the hood. For one, the hood struts work, which that last clip just got cut off because it is so hot outside that my phone is overheating filming in the sun. It's just too goddamn hot. But anyways, back to the details. So one thing I noticed, as you can see, this frame rail, it doesn't look brand new, but it definitely isn't OEM. So it has a newish fuel rail, it has newer looking injectors, it has newer looking coil packs, and I'm assuming also there are new spark plugs in it. And like I said already, it has new brake booster. Filter in here looks completely brand new. And just overall, this engine bay just looks really, really good. There are some minor leaks or remnants of old leaks in there, but overall, for being a Ford F-150 from 1999 with 203,000 miles, by the way, this thing is looking really good. I definitely do need to do a coolant flush though, because this coolant is looking absolutely ugly. I don't know if you can see in there, but it's icky gunkus in there. Oh yeah, and actually one thing that I forgot that I do need to fix, this positive terminal on here is really loose and the actual terminal is cracked. So we're gonna have to replace that with a new one, which honestly shouldn't be too bad. That'll be probably a video for the future. Some more high notes, the bed cover, this thing's pretty sick. It's nice that it's color matched. Honestly, it's a bit janky, so I don't know if I'm gonna keep it. I might end up selling it just to be able to recoup some of my money. But for now, you know, it'll just stay on the truck. We'll just have it back there. It looks good. Another thing I love are these side steps, because as you know, I'm a pretty short man, so it makes getting in this semi-tall truck really easy. And this interior, like I said, it's really clean, but it's also super, super comfy. And it gives me like a good chunk of nostalgia because my family used to own a Ford F-150. So I used to sit back there in like the back right there in my little car seat while my family would go deliver newspapers and stuff like that. So this truck definitely has like already some sentimental value to it, which could be a good or bad thing depending on if I plan to sell it in the future. All right, we're gonna continue moving on. We're gonna get up underneath the truck. Another plus is that, yes, it looks like it is relatively rusty, but all this to me just looks like a bunch of surface rust, which is awesome. I'd say the rustiest part of the vehicle would probably end up being the diff cover and maybe this spare. But there's also just rust in really weird spots. Well, maybe not super weird. There's just excessive rust in spots that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Like for one, we have this rust patch on the edge of the door frame, which I guess would make sense. People getting in and out of the truck, they constantly rub up against it, probably rubbed off like all the paint and stuff, so it just naturally rusted. But up underneath the door right here, like this is rotting out. Granted, like this overall isn't too bad, like compared to the BMW, like this isn't really bad at all, but that'll probably be something that I'm gonna have to take care of at some point because I do not want this entire truck to be rotting away. And then other random places like up underneath the dash, like places like this, like I said, this brake pedal was super rusty. My guess, and a lot of other people guesses, is that this truck may have been like in storage somewhere and it wasn't very well like controlled humidity wise. So a lot of super weird spots just ended up rusting, but like the body itself stayed in really good shape. So I mean, look at this. There's like this little sap on here because it was sitting underneath a tree when it was on the side of the road being sold. But other than that, like this thing is pretty immaculate. Like the chrome is super clean. Like even like the tow hooks, like those don't even have excessive rust or wear on them. Like the plastics all look really good still. Oh, And another positive, of course, it already has an electrical hookup for a trailer in the back. There is this new hookup sitting inside the truck though, so I'm kind of assuming that the one that's already on the truck might be bad, so we might have to wire this in, which I guess could be another video in the future. So like I said, I just don't really know much about trucks in general, but I do know that one issue with these engines specifically is that the spark plugs like to eject. I don't know if that was taken into account when they did the spark plugs last, so that's gonna have to be something that I probably take a look at in the future, just go through, make sure everything is in good order. But yeah, I'm just super hyped on this truck. I feel like getting this truck is a super like monumental moment in the drifting journey, because now I actually have something that I can tow with reliably. Hopefully. I've only driven the car like a handful of times since I got it, but like I said, the car drives mint, transmission smooth as shit, engine super smooth, delivers power great, suspension feels great, it drives straight as an arrow. I think I got super lucky with this truck, especially getting it for $2,200. If any of you guys know anything about these F-150s, anything that I should know to look out for, or anything that I should probably look to replace now before I get too deep into this truck, let me know down in the comments. It would be a great help. Any help would just be greatly appreciated, honestly. But I think that's going to do for this video, guys. I hope you guys are excited about this truck. I know I am. Totally going to change the game, going to make my life a hell of a lot easier, not having to drive the cars back and forth to events. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next one.